On this episode, we go head-to-head in another round of Resort Wars, comparing two of Walt Disney World's most elegant spots, Disney's Riviera Resort and Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Today's November 4th, 2025, and this is episode 821 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys!
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, get the latest theme park news, as well as live streams from the parks and resorts, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Are you ready for your bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
So Merry Christmas!
Why are you laughing?
Because the last one that came out on Halloween.
It did.
And now, just a few days later on Tuesday, I am ready for Christmas.
We are. Yeah, we are. We're almost decorated as of recording Sunday.
Uh-huh.
We got to do our little village.
Yeah.
And we haven't done the outside yet because we're not crazy people.
No, just inside. But I went shopping today and I got me a brand new Stanley that looks like a candy cane and a sparkly straw.
It was nuts out there.
Yeah, it was.
It was crazy. A lot of people
out there
getting ready.
I got
for
some new
the Christmas season.
Disney bauble bar earrings.
Where do you look for those? Because maybe
Marshalls.
people don't know. Marshalls is where you get those? Because we always stop in Marshalls, Ross.
Marshalls is the best place. What's the name? Ross. I don't love it. I love Marshalls.
Yeah.
Marshalls is the place.
But you can get. We have seen lounge flies there. You see the bauble bar stuff there all the time.
And I hate to say it, but now is the time you're supposed to go. Like literally, we went a few days. Here's what's funny. We went a few days before, I think, what was it, Halloween, I think? We were shopping.
Yeah, we went the day before Halloween, I believe we went.
And Jeremy, when I was looking, goes, we were just here. And funny enough, what I saw today, that this were the earrings, were these like Mickey string lights that are, about 2 inches long.
Yeah.
I love them. They were not there.
Yeah.
They even had little Mickey Santa's bauble bar. I like the dangly ones because I wear them in my first holes.
Yeah.
So when I have a whole bunch of holes.
Oh yeah, but those spots are great. The problem with those, we have found some awesome stuff at the Marshalls, the Rosses, things like that are Disney related. The issue is you can't go there looking for something.
No, you can't.
Just go there and something kind of looks for you.
100%. And today was a good day.
Yeah, it was good for you. So
it was a good day.
But, you can get things like bauble bar and lounge flies at a much lower cost, which you might want to do if you plan on staying at either of the resorts we're going to talk about today. Because
100%.
We're doing Resort Wars. We are doing two of, I guess, what we'll call the most elegant, luxurious, which often means most expensive resorts on property. And that is going to be Riviera Resort over there in the Epcot area. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do Grand Floridian, of course, right there on the monorail loop.
Yes.
And if you are not familiar with Resort Wars, we basically take two semi-similar resorts, and then we go through several categories and kind of make our picks on what we feel would win that category, which are the resorts, and we crown a winner at the end. We've done a couple of these so far, Rhonda. If they want to go back and listen because they missed them, what episodes can they go back to, and what battles can they check out?
Well, you can go back to $7.99, which is a value, which is Pop Century versus Art. 805, which is moderate, Coronado versus Caribbean. Another moderate, 810, which is Port Orleans, Showdown, Riverside, and French Quarter. And then 815 is Deluxe with Animal Kingdom Lodge and Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to another Deluxe. DVC, of course, as well. Riviera being, all DVC with the cash rooms. And then, of course, you have the villas and you have the standard areas over at Grand Floridian.
Yep.
So we're going to, when we do these, which is going to be interesting about this one, is what? For the first time in Resort Wars, we were talking about two places that what?
Oh, we have not stayed at.
Yeah.
So I guess this works very well then to do it because we've visited these places numerous times.
I mean, we've done everything.
We've never stayed in a room.
Yeah, we've really done everything except lay our heads on the beds in the room. Which is one reason these match up well for us. Another is it is Riviera and it's Grand Flo. They are two of the more elegant resorts, as we mentioned before. But we have been inside of Riviera room.
That's true.
Being the grand 3-bedroom villa we actually were through one time.
Yep.
I had an opportunity to go through the 2-bedroom not long after they opened. So we've been inside some of those rooms. We've actually never stepped foot inside of a Grand Floridian room.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy. It's
that
the
is crazy.
only room on property we've never stepped foot in.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of nuts. But what we'd like to do first is introduce what we'll call the teams. We will start with the newbie, Riviera, opened in 2019,
which
December
is
of 2019. It's crazy it's been that long.
I mean, because it does not feel like that long.
It feels like so much newer.
But, wow.
Yeah. 300 rooms. This is a very, very small resort. All you got is a little Riviera Tower, 300 rooms.
Yeah.
It is, when you were talking about your mosaics, I meant to mention this, when you're talking about doing the mosaics at Port Orleans, Riverside, and we're talking about recreation out, at the resorts and all, how would you like to have helped put in the over 40,000 square feet of handcrafted mosaics that are all over Riviera?
That'd have been neat.
Especially as you walk from that Skyliner down, and you've got the Peter Pan and Skyline in London, and you've got Rapunzel and Tangled.
I would have loved to help that one.
Just insane to
Gorgeous.
even think about. Yeah, just
gorgeous.
Nuts. This was the first DVC resort built since 2010's Alani. Of course, now we're going to have Lakeshore Lodge opening in 2027. So this will no longer be the baby. Le Petit Cafe is the resort's coffee bar, and it was inspired by the cafe scene in The Aristocats. And then offers one of Disney's most unique room types, which is the Tower Studio, made for two folks.
Yep.
Of course, they got those over at the new Poly Tower as well.
Right.
So really want to stay in one of those.
Yeah, but it's crazy because the tower, do they have studios in the Poly Tower?
They have these studios, yes.
These, they do?
They have these. That's what I just said, yeah. These are the duo. They have these in the Poly Tower as well.
Okay, so I was picturing the room we were in, the couch and the pull down, and that's it. But then there's no bed. I think that would be the most, unusual and weird thing. Walking into a room, into a studio and seeing a bathroom, but you don't see a bed, and seeing a couch.
Right.
I'd be like, where are we gonna sleep?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you just pull down that.
You pull it down. Your couch is your bed is your couch.
Yep.
Einhorn is Finkel and Finkel is Einhorn.
Okay.
Let's move on to Team Grand Floridian. Now, this opened way, way back in 1988.
Oh, wow.
This has 867 plus 200 DVC villas. Fun facts, it is the crown jewel of Walt Disney World's Deluxe Resorts because it's part of the monorail loop, and it is the Grand Floridian.
Yep.
I mean, it really is. When you think of, I'll go back. I remember, when my brother was nice enough to put us up in the Poly for your 40th birthday, and he had said originally, he was like, hey, what's the nicest resort on property? And immediately in my mind, every time is Grand Floridian. It doesn't mean what room necessarily do we want to stay in, what's the best, whatever. But when I think of nicest, I just think of Grand Floridian because for me, nice does go along sometimes with luxurious and elegance. So that's kind of what pops in my head. 5-story lobby is getting a bar
Yep.
which is going to be interesting, but it does have the big, grand, beautiful lobby, not quite what we have over at Riviera. Of course, it's the site of the Grand Wedding Pavilion, which is one of Disney's most popular wedding venues, and they are doing some work on it right now. So it'll be interesting to see afterwards what all they're doing there. And then
But
the
we never
rooms.
saw it before.
No, we never did. Yeah, I mean, we never got to go into it or anything.
Right.
Obviously, you can look up photos and stuff. You have to be invited to a wedding there. So
I would
maybe
love
we
to
need
be.
to find some folks that get married at Disney. Let's
That'd
get
be
on
amazing.
Get on their good list.
Yeah.
Get on their nice list now. And then the rooms that were refurbed back in 2023 got a Mary Poppins Returns type of little touches to them.
Cute.
So we will talk a little bit about that when we get to the room part. But first, we are going to start with theming and atmosphere. Riviera is the redefined European flair, actually based on trips and visits that Walt and Lily used to take to the French Riviera in Europe all the time. Is where the inspiration from this comes from.
Wow.
It's that soft color palette. I think of it as the blues. You know, it is. It's very warm and inviting in that way, but elegant at the same time.
Right.
It has a boutique. It's a boutique hotel, really, because
Yeah.
it is only 300 rooms. And again, I think boutique. I think of homey and small, and that's what this is.
And that's when you walk into
Yeah.
the lobby as well.
It
is
is.
very just, it reminds me of, and not my grandma's, but kind of my grandma's, like, because back in the day, my grandparents didn't have, which, God, this is going to make me sound really old, but they, I mean, I'm not, but they didn't have a TV. Like, when I went to my grandparents' house, their, like, living room was their sitting room where we just
What'd you
sat
do?
and talked.
You just talk to each other.
Yeah.
Whoa,
It was
that's
crazy.
crazy. The whole time.
I guess. I mean, we'd play with toys on the ground and stuff, but it was just, and I mean, I think one of their bedrooms they put a TV in and was their TV room, I think is what they called it.
My grandma had a TV, but when I think about it again, they weren't focal points back then, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's nothing on. There wasn't much good to watch. So,
But seriously,
but
my dad's parents did not have a TV, if I remember correctly, growing up in their living room.
yeah.
It
Well, no, but
literally
that makes sense for
was
that
just, it was
generation,
so
yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah.
But that's what this reminds me of. Just you go in and it's just, oh, there's a whole bunch of places to sit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean I, for me, walking into the Riviera and that lobby and all, it obviously it doesn't feel like you're walking into someone's home unless that person has a lot of money, but it does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it has that feel and that layout. Again, it's not big and grand the way that we are used to deluxe hotel lobbies. But
True.
that's what to me gives it more of that DVC feel. Same way that Kidani does, right?
100%.
Kidani has
100%.
that smaller boardwalk. Does a great job of that.
Oh,
Now, when you
I
get
agree.
down to the old Key West,
Yes.
you know, Saratoga. I think everybody always thinks that these Disney resorts have to have these giant 5-story grand lobbies, and they don't. I think they can be just as good without them. Of course, the Grand Floridian is just recognizable. It is, you know, it's what Hotel de Coronado out west in California is what it's modeled after. And yeah, I mean, it's the definition of Disney luxury, you know, from the spa and the wedding chapel to, you know, when you go back and think about like having when Meisner's Lounge was there, where the Enchanted Rose is now, and you had the band there, when you have the lobby and the piano going, the grand piano in that lobby playing, it screams elegance.
Yes, it does.
So with all that being said, as far as that theming and atmosphere goes, and we can talk about the grounds as well, you know, you walk around.
I know.
Man, to me, actually, the grounds feel very similar,
Yeah, they do.
except for size. They
Right.
both of them, I'm waiting to look over and see people playing like polo and
At Grand
wearing
Flo?
at either one of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're literally wearing like polo shirts and the vest. And what's the little hat that they wear? What's that one?
I don't know. But at the Riviera, you do literally have outdoor things that people play.
Yeah, you walk down
which
there
is
into that
so cool.
that courtyard area or quad or whatever you would
Right.
call it, and you have everything from the chess to
Mm-hmm.
the bocce ball court there. So it does have this upscale feeling, I think, in that way, but again, in a boutique way. When you walk around the grounds of Grand Floridian, though, I mean, they are gorgeous.
Yeah, they are.
Like, so which vibe, I guess, would you go with overall?
It's a really hard one. I have no nostalgia for either one.
You have no nostalgia for walking on property at Riviera?
I mean, sure, but I mean, not like
Going to Bar Riva?
yeah, but I have the same for the Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to pick the Grand Floridian, and here's the reason why.
Okay.
Because when I dressed up for Victorian Albert's, and that dress I absolutely love. It is, to me, a very fun dress.
Yes.
It is shorter up in the front and
That has almost
longer
been
in the
1
back.
year.
It's crazy. But I will tell you, I felt right at home. I felt normal. I felt
Okay.
like, yes, the elegance. Yes, I just felt, I don't know. I just loved it.
Okay. So you pick Grand Floridian.
I am.
Can I just go opposite direction and ask you a question?
Sure.
What if, how do you feel walking into either of these resorts in what you're normally wearing, which is park attire?
I feel overdressed at Grand Flo, and I feel fine at Riviera. I will say
No,
that.
park. You're in park attire.
Yeah, I know. What did I say? Overdressed?
Yeah,
I mean
underdressed.
under.
Okay.
Way
Yeah, that's
under.
what I meant. Yes. You
At
meant
Grand Flo.
underdressed at Grand Flo. Correct.
Yes. But I
So-
feel fine at Riviera. Like, I don't feel like, oh gosh, I'm in here in this outfit.
Okay.
I should change.
If you had worn that dress or something similar to Riviera, because we just say we weren't going on a cruise for our 20th anniversary.
Right.
We were celebrating it at Topolino's
Yeah.
up top, and you were wearing that dress. How would you feel?
A little
compared-
overdressed.
A little overdressed.
I would.
Okay.
I would just feel like people were like, why is she like so dressed up? Whereas I wondered at Grand Flo, but I also thought some people might not really think that much.
I think walking into Grand Flo, you have folks that are going to look at you and think two things. Either, if they know Grand Flo well enough, either A, she is here to dine at Victorian Albert's,
Right.
or B, she is here to go to a wedding. Whereas at Riviera,
That's
I
true.
do think that if you walked in that attire, someone's going to think she is either on her way to dine at Victorian Albert's or she is on her way to, just because those things aren't as common at Riviera.
Yeah.
You don't see people dressed
Yeah.
like that as common at Riviera. Because of a lot of those same reasons, I'm going to pick Riviera.
Okay.
Because I think it is more welcoming and comforting in general.
Okay.
I also, I know we don't walk down that hallway a lot because we walk outside and then we go around if we're coming in the front door.
Yeah.
I tend to go down the stairs, walk outside,
Yeah.
go around to Bar Riva or
Yeah.
wherever it may be. But if you don't and you walk down that hallway, you get to see all of those movie posters that
Yeah.
are Disney movie posters that are from they're all in French.
Yeah. They're
So you
super
get to see
cute.
their takes and names and
Yeah.
designs on them, which I think is a neat thing. It's
Yeah.
not the only reason I'm picking Riviera. I love the boutiqueness. I love the fact that you can walk down from that lobby, which is very inviting and relaxing. And you know what? It never sounds like Grand Floridian.
That's true.
You know, right now, Grand Floridian is a mess because they're redoing the whole lobby. They're building this bar. We're not going to get the gingerbread house and all. But when you go back to years, like if I was staying at one of those two during the holiday season, I personally would actually rather be at Riviera and visit Grand Flo to see the stuff because it's going to be a nightmare. And I would want to be
Possibly.
able to hang out in
Yeah.
the lobby of my resort and have it be nice and quiet the way you can at Riviera until 11 at night or something, and then go up to my room or whatever it may be. From there, you can walk right down. You've got your bocce ball and your games. You've got those swings. You're overlooking the Skyliner in the water. Pool's right there. You have a beach area that is never utilized. So you basically have a private beach area with Adirondack chairs. And obviously, I'm taking the food portions out of it.
Yeah.
So we have a conundrum because we often agree on these. We
What do we
do? We
do?
flip? Or do
we have
do
to-
we want to keep this a 50-50 and see how the rest plays out?
Sure.
Let's keep it a 50-50, and we'll come back to this one to see if it makes a difference. And then we might have to, talk each other one way or the other. All right, here's the interesting one because we now have to look at rooms and comfort. Comfort is going to be really tough because of the fact that we have not actually slept in one of these beds. Mm-hmm. But both of these beds are new enough for us to know the comfortability of them from staying at many other resorts on property. We have the Mary Poppins-esque, very, very minimal theming. It's the same way you see it at Citrico's.
But
right?
that's pretty.
They're gorgeous.
That is gorgeous.
We're just going through some pictures now. Again, you can see Mary Poppins wallpaper behind the coffee station. The colors honestly draw a lot from the same thing you see over at Riviera with some of those blues. The tones at Riviera, I think, add a lot more browns in, but it still has some of those light blues, greens, things like that. I believe I did not want to look up the exact square footage because I wanted to ask you, based on these photos, which do you think is larger in square footage?
But based on these photos,
and we're looking at roughly Deluxe studio. So again, they're not going to be exact.
I'm going to say
let's just say
Grand
which do you think
Flo.
looks roomier? Grand Flo looks much roomier,
Yes,
doesn't
it
it?
does.
I don't know the square footage. I purposely did not look it up.
Okay.
Because I agree. I think Grand Flo looks so much roomier. And honestly, I have to go with Grand Flo just based on what we're looking at here.
I hate to say it, me too.
You do too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the Riviera style, but having been in the Riviera rooms, I think they're stunning. To me, they don't feel like home. Somehow looking at these Grand Flo rooms, and again, we're only looking at photos, these look both stunning and elegant, but homey in the same way that Riverside did.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Mm-hmm. So with that being said, beds, I'm sure, are both going to be great, wonderful, comfy.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they're going to have very similar things as far as, your amenities within the room. So I think we're both in picking Grand Flo for the room and comfort. All right. So Grand Flo gets its first official round. All right. We got to move on to dining and drinks. And we can go at this two ways. We can include V&As or we cannot. Because at Riviera, we have Topolino's Terrace, Primo Piatto, which I personally think is top 3 best quick service on property. La Petite Cafe, and then, of course, you have Bar Riva, which, if you've listened to the show for any amount of time, we absolutely love. At Grand Flo, you do have Victorian Alberts, of course.
Right.
Let's say we weren't counting that. You still got Narcoossee's, Citricos, Grand Floridian Cafe, the Enchanted Rose, and Gasparilla Grill. Now, we have not dined at the quick service Gasparilla Grill and gone there for a meal. We have dined at literally every other place, including Victorian Alberts.
Yeah.
Let's keep Victorian Alberts out of it. Who do you vote for?
Honestly, I'm going to say Riviera, and you can leave Victoria and Albert's in. I'm just trying to think of like dinner and drinks. Like I'm thinking like Topolino's is fantastic, period. But Primo Piatto is fantastic. Cafe is Bar Riva. It's all good to keep going back and back. And to me, it's not like, well, we need to save for this. We need to save. Even though, yes, Topolino's is expensive, but at Grand Flo, you'd have to save for Victoria and Albert's. Let's be 1,000% honest. You need to save for Narcoossee's and Citricos because none of that's cheap either.
Right.
Like if you were like, okay, you're staying for a couple of nights at Riviera and you cannot, or Grand Flo, and you cannot leave. You have to stay and eat every meal. I hate to say it, I'd prefer Riviera because but you're going by cost. I am, but I'm also going by good food.
Okay, that's what I would like you to go by because cost will come in later as far as value because we do have the round for value. But yes, 100% you are correct. If I have to stay somewhere for a week and I have to think about, well, I would save the value thought, the cost thought for later. But 100% by the good food and which one you prefer. That's what this is about, what we like better. But you are right. If I had to stay at one for a week and somebody said you have to eat at least one meal a day, I'm going to pick Riviera, but only because of cost.
Right.
If I'm thinking anything about food, quality of food, I'm going to go Grand Flo personally. Because here's what I'll do, all right? Gasparilla and Primo Piatto for me. Primo Piatto is going to win. Okay? Bar Riva, and we really don't have anything the same to compare it to. The best you can compare it to is Enchanted Rose. I'm actually going to take Bar Riva for that. So right now, it looks like I really want to pick Riviera to win. But then you hit Citricos, you hit Narcoossee's, you hit Grand Floridian Cafe. You can put all three of those, for the most part, up against Topolino's because that's all they have for their sit-down. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whereas you have three high quality.
Yeah.
Grand Floridian is for everyone, right?
Yeah.
That is stepping into your grandmother's kitchen.
Yeah.
A little bit more elegant than that, but it's pretty much the same. I'll put Narcoossee's right on line with quality, atmosphere, and everything, as I will Topolino's. That might surprise a lot of people, but I'll even give Narcoossee's the nod, because if you're going to do it around fireworks, guess what you're doing? You're watching Happily Ever After, standing out there.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
And Citrico's,
I'll say Grand Flo.
we've dined at a few times, and it has always been absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
And that's leaving Victorian Albert's out.
Okay.
So, and again, I'm not trying to sway you.
No, you're right.
I'm just trying to take the money portion out because we talk about it later. And I'm trying to think of truly the food.
Okay.
And Grand Flo.
Okay.
You know,
That's true.
What we need to do is we will rank. You know, we can do an episode ranking just like the overall dining for every single resort. And Grand Flo, in my opinion, is probably coming up top 3, without even just thinking about anything else. Probably where it's happening. So Grand Flo gets another one. All right, round 4, transportation and park proximity. Now, Grand Flo beats all, other than Contemporary, obviously, because of where it's located as far as Magic Kingdom. You got the monorail there. Monorail will also get you over to Epcot.
Right.
Right? You're busing to other locations, but you do have access to boats as well.
Right.
Riviera, we got Skyliner and buses.
And that's it.
That's it. And we know that when the Skyliner's not operating, the recovery buses are not
awful.
our favorites.
So
if you're
Grand
staying at Riviera,
Floridian.
you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Which way would your vote go with all that information?
Grand Floridian.
I love the Skyliner more than anything, but it can't overtake boats, monorail,
Walking.
buses, walkability. Because here's the thing, Riviera, you're not walking to a park.
True that.
So you can actually walk to one, and we do it plenty of times.
And it's a beautiful walk.
It
They
is a
fixed it.
beautiful walk.
I guess.
Yeah.
Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah, once they redid that whole path and opened up that whole path over there,
it's
it's
lit,
gorgeous.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, littered with danger noodles. But
Nuh-uh. There was only one.
if there's one, there's at least 1,000.
Okay.
If life has taught me anything, Rhonda.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute no-brainer. And
Yeah.
again, Skyliner is my favorite mode of transportation.
Even though technically Riviera is located in a very great spot because it's also right down the street from Springs.
Oh, I mean, I will say actual location.
Right.
I prefer it.
I agree. If you were like,
Yeah. Walk to Caribbean, right? First of all, so we've always talked about that.
yeah,
From a transportation standpoint, you just opened up your restaurants and some of your entertainment
Right.
and such, right? Quick Skyline to Hollywood once you're over at Caribbean, or even if you're at Riviera. Not a bad Skyline over to Epcot.
Right.
And the whole boardwalk area, again, opening up all those restaurants.
Right.
So I think it does really well. Same with Disney Springs.
Right.
You're a quick Uber, bus ride, whatever it may be. But I still think all those opportunities
well, we're
and
talking
options that you have at Grand Flo.
transportation and park
Yes.
proximity.
Yeah.
So
I still think that Grand Flo takes that one.
yeah,
So Grand Flo's getting another one. I don't know. We might just leave our first round as is. All right. Recreation and amenities. Riviera, you got the two pools. You have the main pool and then that quiet pool, which is basically
right
directly next to it.
Yep.
There was really nowhere else to put it,
Nope.
obviously, because it is a very small property. You do have all those lawn games. You have a fitness center, and you have that beach area. But over at Grand Flo, you have multiple pools. You have the world-class spa. You got live entertainment there in the lobby and all when they do the piano.
Oh yeah.
And of course, you can get views of Magic Kingdom fireworks. So With all that being said,
Yeah.
this is a tough one. You know, we didn't do the thing at the beginning. It's too late now. Which is your favorite? Because we both would have said Riviera. You know, usually we start.
I know.
Really? I think I would have 100%.
You would have.
If someone came in right now and said, "I will pay for you
I know.
to
you're
stay,"
right.
like we're going down Friday, right? We're just gonna go down for the day because you got to work Saturday morning. Let's just say you didn't, and then all of a sudden someone said, "You know what? Why don't you stay the night? We will pay for a studio at either Grand Flo or Riviera. Which do you want?"
You'd pick
with no
Riviera.
hesitation. I would have personally picked Riviera.
Right. I know.
So that's why I think this is interesting the way it's coming out so far. I'm gonna put it this way: which resort outside of the room in dining and transportation, which of these would you rather hang out for for the day?
I think Grand Floridian, because I remember when we sat at the bar inside the pool and I just looked around and I was like, this would be really cool to hang out at. And I mean, I think we got a little cupcake thing. We had a few drinks.
Yep.
And
It was
I
our Tron
like,
preview.
yeah, and I like that it was there, like inside the pool, whereas the Bar Riva is not.
Right.
And that's the one thing I'll always say too. I always would feel like if it was me and I was there walking up to the bar in the bathing suit, I would feel weird. Whereas
the negative of Bar Riva is that it's not Riviera's. You know what I mean? Like if you're staying at Riviera, that's everyone's bar because it's so easily accessible and it's popular, right? And people love it. It's not really popular enough, but whereas you're right, even though we were not staying at Grand Flo and we were able to access that pool bar area, it's Grand Flo. Like people aren't normally doing that as much.
But
right?
It's quiet.
So
it was just nice. It was just
you're swaying me because I my thought was Riviera, but as I think about it more, I mean, if somebody locked you out of your room, right, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah, where would you
at those two properties, and you weren't allowed to leave the property, I think I would rather be at Grand Flo.
Because you got to remember, like Grand Flo, I feel like Grand Flo's like pool has like right next to it the kids area.
Yep.
So like, but I feel like I felt like when I looked around, to me, it felt like a nicer pool than just Riviera's pool, where I feel like their adult pool is just a pool that I would have in my backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I wouldn't have it in my backyard because it's giant.
Of course, I know. But it's not this big. Again, it's not what we expect of deluxe resort pools.
Correct.
Because it is this boutique-y hotel style.
And then the kids area is in the same as the main pool, which everything usually is. I just have always felt like it's so quiet. And I'll never forget sitting there, like you said, our Tron, and just Riviera was just, or not Riviera, excuse me, Grand Flo was just, it was just nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it was a gorgeous day where I could have been like, and I just remember, I specifically remember looking at people being like, I want to do this one day.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think too, Grand Flo feels more immersive in the sense of being contained within its own self. Now, obviously, you can look and you can see from areas the castle, and you can see, maybe the Poly and contemporary. Whereas, Riviera is kind of just plopped right on that small little footprint, right amongst everything else.
Yeah.
So, shockingly, I guess that is going to Grand Flo as well. This is not going anywhere near where I thought it would, and probably anyone else. All right, now we're to value. You got a chance here, Riviera. I definitely think your food part is on par.
I would say
100%.
Riviera.
And you have the opportunity to get rooms at a lower rate. Not they're still very expensive rooms, but you do have the Tower Studio.
Yep.
Right? So you at least have an opportunity for that.
Correct.
So I think that as far as value comes up, and as you said, I do think you can work in value when you're talking about the fact that, you were saying, okay, earlier, Grand Flo has a lot more dining options, right?
Right.
But Riviera has Banana Cabana. It has Sebastian's Bistro.
Right.
Right? It has Spyglass Grill. It has, like, I feel like you can count those more than you can count restaurants that are poly belonging to Grand Flow.
Right.
If that makes sense. And it probably doesn't, but it does in my mind.
But again, to me, like...
Riviera has always felt like the sister resort to Caribbean Beach ever since it was built to me.
Yeah, and I'll say, though, back to Riviera, like, if you were like, again, this is where I think back to where if you were like, you can't leave almost the property, I would think, because to be honest, then I'd almost say, well, if you can leave the property, I'd go to Grand Flow, because I'd walk over and have a Walulu bar and sit and have a burger there. And like I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I'd go to upstairs and get Ohana at the bar.
A Tambu.
Thank you. Yeah, so you can't, I'm going to have to say for the value and for you, I've got to stay at that resort. Because again, I could be like, well, I'm going to stay at Grand Flow, but my value I'm going to use and I'm going to go to Poly, or there is no other one, right? I mean, you could go to Contemporary.
Right.
You
Right, but that's different. I mean, I feel like that's different.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of walking.
Right.
Because the Poly Tower is the closest, because we have walked now many a time.
It definitely feels like an extension now of Grand Flow as much as it does
100%.
the Poly in weird ways, obviously,
100%.
other than theme.
It reminds me basically of the same as what we're talking about Riviera compared to right next to Caribbean.
No, you're right about that.
Poly right next to Grand Flow.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, I'll go back then to what we were saying before. You know, if somebody walked in this door right now, still waiting. Nope. And instead of said, I will put you up in one room.
I mean, we'd probably say Grand Flow.
No, but I'm saying if they
Riviera.
said, I will give you $1,000 and you have to use it all, I know I'm going to be able to get a less expensive room at Riviera, therefore giving me more spending money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes me feel that Riviera is the better value.
Right. And again, going to Bar Riva for a lunch or Primo Piatto for a lunch instead of Yeah. I mean, from the beginning when we were talking about the food and stuff, you were the one who helped me see that. So yes, Riviera will win on value in my opinion.
Right. And you can go at night and you can have dinner at Bar Riva. You can't go at night and have dinner at Enchanted Rose unless you take out a second mortgage. And they don't have dinner food, obviously. Right. They start those kind of smaller plates and all, but it is expensive as all get out. Yeah. And I feel so bad for Riviera. We got to give them something. So they get this one for sure. So really right now, I mean, we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4 points.
Not
5,
even counting
right?
50,
Not counting
50.
the 50-50. So, it's already won.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't have to worry about the first one. And technically, we don't have to worry about our listener poll.
No, but we are going to read it.
Yeah. What did our listener poll end up being? Because this doesn't change things, but...
And coming in at a 60% was actually Riviera Resort. Wow.
Yeah, so listeners, followers on our Facebook community seem to prefer Riviera. You can go out there and read some of the comments and all. If you check out the Main Street Magic community, there was a lot that was between, I think, kind of the classicness of a Grand Flow and then Riviera and the food offerings and a lot of the things that we talked about. Are you surprised?
I think
Grand
I
Flow
am.
One.
I think I am. I think in the beginning, if you'd have said which one, I'd have probably, I guess Riviera. I don't know.
Well, there's a difference.
Like, I am and I'm not.
I'm surprised that technically we picked Grand Flow.
Okay.
Right? Because this is really our pick when it comes down to it.
True.
I'm not surprised that Grand Flow won. Does that make sense? I'm surprised that we picked it to win technically, but I'm not surprised that it won.
Okay.
I mean, again, I think it's one of those things where, you can look at folks like us, and I'm sure a lot of listeners and all that are, huge Disney fans. We live and breathe Disney. A lot of us go often, whatever it may be. I think your average guest that is looking for that trip is going to be so much more impressed by Grand Flow.
Yeah.
And that's the one that they're going to be, oh, yeah, I remember seeing that before. I watched a show. I watched
right.
Somebody mentioned that actually. They're like, you go back. I don't feel like you see it as much as you did in the 80s and 90s when all the sitcoms went to Disney. Where did they all stay?
Grand Flow.
At the Grand Flow.
Or contemporary, correct?
Contemporary a lot of times too. But again, like I think Grand Flow, though, when you think about it, it looks the most impressive. Like, you know, let's be honest. If you just saw the contemporary without the monorail currently running through it at that perfect marketing photo spot, you would not be very impressed as someone who doesn't know Disney World.
That's true.
You're going to be impressed with the Grand Flow just by looking at the photos and stuff, I think. So
I agree.
That was a surprise. I think it'll be real exciting. The next one we'll do will be the OG one. So we'll do Poly versus Contemporary, which will be interesting because they're our first two resorts opened on the same day. And I don't think they could be more different.
I know.
So that one's going to be really interesting.
That'll be fun.
If you want to hear hear that one as well as everything else coming up, very excited actually. Our wonderful travel advisor Amy with MEI Travel is booking Jollywood Nights.
Woohoo!
For who?
For us.
Who's us?
Us meaning the girls this time.
Yeah. Yeah, we decided we're going to go the Saturday night that we're there for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So
I think the girls will love it.
Yeah, I sent them in our little family group text earlier. I sent them just a link to Disney's site with Jollywood Nights and said, do you all want to do this? And they both said yes. And so I think they'll be excited. We can all get dressed up, and that'll be a lot of fun. So we have not had a teenager perspective of Jollywood Nights because you and I went the last 2 years. So that'll be really neat to have them on. So if you want to hear that, all about our Thanksgiving trip, we're going to IAPA here in a couple weeks coming up. So go ahead and hit subscribe, get brand new episodes every single Tuesday and Friday. And then, of course, we would be so very thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it'll help our show grow.
That's all we've got, and we'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.